to the Car Podcast. If you're new here, you probably don't know my old series that I used to have on this channel, the car vlogs. It didn't really make sense to newer audience, so I wanted to do a little bit of rebranding. This is what I've came up with, is the Car Podcast. Rather than it being one large rant though, I want it to be categorized into 3 separate topics, and then I can go into subcategories within those topics, but it kind of keeps me from going on one massive rant. I'm gonna see how it does. If it does really well, I'm gonna keep it up. If it doesn't, it was a good try. So episode 1, the first topic I want to go over is meeting people in LA. And let me tell you, meeting people when you don't have friends and family is a totally different lonely. And I resorted to a church environment. I wouldn't say I'm like a super religious person, but whenever I'd ask people like how to make friends with good intentions, that's kind of the answer I would get, and that's what I resorted to. Before I jump into that, I did want to go over my whole narrative structure perspective on making friends, which might be a little bit different since I'm a film school student, or I was a film school student. So I have like the screenwriter background where it's taught whenever you're wanting to do a screenplay, you have to make the characters a likable person, especially for like a hero's journey. You want the hero to be likable, you want them to have characteristic values and traits that the audience really admires in order for them to root for them in the long run. Because if they can't root for them in the long run, they're going to disengage and it's just not going to be a good story. So the key to success in screenplays or in movies is essentially creating characters that are valuable and have takeaways that people can relate to, or experiences that they can relate to. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that is that's kind of how I view friendship, is that I want to be able to feel seen, heard, and felt, and if people haven't went through the same experiences or something similar that can relate to me, they're not going to like me, they're not going to help me root for me to the end. Same for them. So I met this one girl at church, and then I decided to sit down and have a coffee with her, and it went for 3 hours. So from a larger perspective, it looked like it went really well. But in reality, the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of us sitting down and talking, I realized shortly after that it wasn't gonna work out. She was introverted, she didn't believe in bar atmospheres, she didn't like alcohol, and she didn't believe in sex before marriage. And these are all, admirable traits to have. I'm not trying to diss this person in any way, shape, or form, but it was really hard for me to really be able to feel like she could see where I'm coming from and she could relate to me because she's never been through the same experiences. And since I've had such a toxic past, and trauma that's led me to have, sex before marriage and stuff like that, because I was feeling voids, which I'll talk about in my next episode. I'll jump into relationships and how that's affected me. I have went through those experiences and I can't take that away, and I need someone to help me better me. And if they can't relate to my experiences or know what I'm going through, it's hard for them to do that. I walked away feeling very unsatisfied, and I decided to resort to a bar atmosphere and meeting people. I went to a really popular bar in Santa Monica, and I instantly was triggered. I had so much anxiety. The high school trauma of it all is like I'm an outsider and I'm trying to fit in, and knowing that it's really hard to fit in an environment like this, it's kind of traumatizing. So I instantly shut down with everything that was going on, and it just being so loud and, being an outsider and it being so busy. So I decided to buy myself a drink, and then I sat down on the couch and I waited for people to come to me. A guy and his friends come and sit by me. His friends kind of disappeared after a while, and I also left that situation feeling very unsatisfied. I didn't want to keep that energy in my life. So I never texted the guy ever again after the fact. And I resorted to online dating. And I have realized after the fact from my past experiences with online dating and now is I'm so career and goal oriented that I don't really have time to date. It's like it's something that I want to be a part of my life, but I just don't have the time and energy for it at this moment because I need to juggle a bunch of part-time jobs in order to pay my bills and yada yada yada. So it is what it is. It was with a foreigner. We sat down. It was super awkward. There was a language barrier. I'm not going to go into the details of that date, but after that, I just kind of sat back and I was like, okay, this is enough. Enough is enough. Taylor doesn't need friends. Sometimes success looks lonely. I think that's one of the quotes that I think I'm going to tie to my name is sometimes success looks lonely, and that's what's keeping me going. I guess I'm going to move into my second topic, which is about The City Never Sleeps. Everyone claims that New York is the city that never sleeps. But after being in LA for several months, I can definitely say LA is the same vibes. Another idea going into California, as everyone told me going into it, is like, California has the worst drivers. I hope you're prepared. I hope you know how to drive. People in LA are insane. And then when I got here, I was like, I don't understand what you're getting at. Like, whenever you go on the highway, California drivers are the most respectful people I've seen in my entire life. Like, there's always 2 cars within you on the highway. There's no honking, like, hardly ever. As long as you're intentional is the only really takeaway I can give you. It's like, as long as you're intentional, you're gonna have a good day and you can't overthink it. It's kind of like you do and you say what you're gonna do. So like, if you put your blinker on, you're gonna make it known that you're gonna get over, because then they'll let you in. They don't have time to think for you, I guess, is the difference in like a northern or southern state to here, is that there's like so much traffic and so much going on in their lives to get them to point A to point B. They don't have time to overthink for you, like, or to think like, hey, this person really, needs to get over. They're not thinking like that. But on Sunset Boulevard and other stuff like that, I can't 100% say the same. But I think it has to do with red lights. Stop-go traffic, I think, is accumulated from all the pedestrians and the amount of times that the traffic lights have to stop for them. So if we didn't have traffic lights, I think all of that would dissipate, honestly. And last but not least, as far as, I guess, driving in California goes, is finding another source that can distract you from the amount of time it's going to take you to drive from point A to point B. So I like to distract myself with things like podcasts. I really like Alexandra Cooper, Call Her Daddy. I also listen to like motivational speakers, which I really enjoy, like Abraham Hicks. I really like listening to her stuff. I guess it's just finding something to distract yourself from the amount of time it's going to take you, because it really does take a long time. Especially when you're taking like Sunset Boulevard. You need like an hour extra to get somewhere, but I wouldn't say it's as tragic as people make it out to be. The last topic I'm gonna talk about or touch bases with is homelessness in LA. There's a lot of it, and let me tell you, they are some unique people. And when I say unique, I literally mean unique human beings. Whenever they have a designated area, they don't ever really leave that designated area. Like, if they have a certain street corner, they normally stay on that street corner, and then they just stay within that block, which is really different. The only reason why I'm bringing it up is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, for instance, there's a homeless guy. His name is Ernest. His name is Ernest, and he goes to North and South Grand Rapids. He's kind of throughout. He's constantly like moving and getting about, which is, I guess, super nice for a homeless person. Like, I can't really say personally, like, I don't know what it's like, but here I would describe homeless as super lazy. So super motivated in Grand Rapids for money, but here it's like lazy but still wants the money. And how am I gonna do that in the most laziest way possible? But the interesting thing about homeless is they do stuff for attention. They just get naked for no apparent reason because they know it draws attention. Like, the same people I see naked are always naked in a different way. And you drive a couple blocks in the fashion district, mainly is where I see this, and I see a man and he's butt-ass naked. And then I drive by and then there's another butt-ass naked man. And it's weird because they're not all friends. They're kind of in different groups of homeless people, but it's like the things they do for attention is insane. And then on top of that idea, like, lazy in a sense, like at a gas station. I've never been interrogated so much for money in my entire life in an area that I normally felt safe. They literally stand in front of you while you are pumping your gas, and they try to make you feel sorry for them. They're like, my best friend's in jail, I need money to bail them out, I haven't eaten in 4 days, I need a meal, what do you have to spare? You're buying gas, can you not afford to hand me $2? Why don't you have cash on you? They're just like interrogating you, and I learned the hard way the best way to deal with it is actually just to ignore the fuck out of them, which is really messed up. And the last story I guess I will talk about, the one night that I got off work and I got lost and I was on the phone with my friend at the time. I missed my turn and I had to go into a sketchy neighborhood. It was almost pitch black outside, but there's obviously street lights. An SUV, and the passenger door is closed, but the driver's side door is swung all the way open, and it's on this side of the road. Swung all the way open, and there's a guy sitting inside the car talking to the guy on the top, and then butt-ass naked guy is standing on top of the roof, waving a stick around at the guy on the bottom, screaming. And I'm on the phone with my friend right now, and I'm trying to tell him, like, what I'm dealing with. And I'm like, you won't believe this. Like, I'm literally in a sketchy neighborhood right now. There's a guy butt-ass naked on his car waving a stick around. And he's like, what? He's like, no way. He's like, you're making that up. There's no way there's, like, a naked guy just standing on the top of a car. And I'm like, no, I'm not even shitting you right now. There's a guy butt-ass naked on top of a car. It's insane. Like, I don't know. So I've experienced some really weird things in California. Moral of the story. I don't know. It's traumatized me to the point of no return. I guess the main question I have to you guys is, have you ever been in a situation where someone is begging you for money in a place you normally feel safe? Like, how do you deal with that? And what is your takeaways if you were in the situation, and how would you handle it to your best ability? The fact that I felt like my freedom and independence was being stripped of me because of their intrusiveness was kind of messed up. Other than that, I guess that's gonna conclude the end of this video. If you enjoyed, definitely let me know. Let me know your feedback. What can I do better? Did you enjoy this series? Do you want to continue to see it? And I guess I will see you in the next episode, where I cover relationships and whatnot. So if you want to dive into my toxic traits and the toxic things I've been through, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Toodles.